comic addicts. It's Joe from Black Box Silver and Bronze, back with another stack of comics. Feed my addiction. Stick around, we'll see what's in here. Okay, so what did I get? I got a big stack of comics, and I have one non-comic item to share with you, which is this facsimile copy of Astounding Sci-Fi magazine from July 1939. I was looking for this, and if you watched any of my previous videos, you did see that I shared this, which is a real copy of Astounding Sci-Fi magazine from December 1939. I was looking for these two issues because I wanted to read the two stories by this author, A.E. Van Vogt. And the story here, Black Discord, and the one in the next issue is what the movie Alien is based upon. I just recently found that out, and I thought, I'd like to read that. So I was searching for a copy of this magazine, and when I was searching up, I found out this magazine is considered the start of the golden age of sci-fi novels or sci-fi stories. And so if you look for this particular issue, an actual issue, not the facsimile, it's very expensive, several $100s. This I got for $15. It's a facsimile reprint. And what's also special about this is that it has a story by Isaac Asimov. Now, Isaac Asimov is my favorite sci-fi author. I've read all his stuff. Particularly, I love his Foundation stories, which are now being made on Apple TV. I'm looking forward to watching that and see how it translates. But at the back of this book is a writing from Van Vogt and also from Isaac Asimov. And Isaac Asimov says that even though this was the third time he was published, this was more important to him. He considers this his epic publishing because this was the premier magazine of the time. He had been rejected like 8 or 9 times, finally got a story accepted, and that's where he considers that his career in sci-fi really started. So very excited to get this, to read both of those. And now it's all comics. Last week, I went to the local mall. They have a monthly collectible show on Saturday and Sunday. I hit it up on Sunday. And it's not just comics. There's trading cards and pops and all different kind of things. But there are a few comic dealers. It seems like the stuff is the same over and over again. So having it every month, there's not a lot of stuff changing. So I didn't score anything really great, but I didn't want to go home empty-handed. And I picked up this copy of Werewolf at Large, issue number 1. The cover looked pretty good. And I picked this one up. And he also had issue number 2. So I grabbed issue number 1 and 2, read them last weekend, really enjoyed it. It's a 3-issue storyline, so now I got to hunt down for the third one. But this werewolf is not like a vicious werewolf. He's kind of this nerdy guy that turns into a werewolf, and he's more of a protector. He kind of protects the innocent and the downtrodden, and he lives in a mansion with his grandmother, who's like a sorceress. Really interesting story, black and white, decent art, and a fun read. So I'm going to be looking for the third one of that. And then a couple of comics came in the mail. You saw all those empty boxes and envelopes. And so I wanted to show you these two. I found out about these. I was watching a YouTube channel called Lady Fantastic, and she recently showed the next two that I'm about to show you. Here is Thor number 1, and this is a Newberry Comics variant. And then here is Ms. Marvel number 1, which is a Newberry Comics variant. And so these are connecting covers. I'm going to try to hold it up here together, and I will also drop in a picture of the connecting variant, but that's what it looks like. And it arrived, it's just in time for Thanksgiving. They're having a Thanksgiving feast. And the seller who gave me this threw in this Marvel Now number 1, Uncanny Avengers. I don't know anything about this. If any of you are familiar with this Marvel now, you could leave a comment below. I'd appreciate it. This is not something that I would normally collect, but the seller threw that in. And then this next one is pretty cool. This is Scooby-Doo Team Up number 41. It's got a great train cover with Penelope Pitstop in bondage and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy and the Anthill Mob, trying to rescue her before that train runs down. I found out about this one on Instagram. I got some notifications from Kevin Taylor Comics. You should check him out on Instagram. And he noticed that I had been posting comics about trains. So he sent me a couple of posts that had trains in them. I think this one was on his Instagram feed. It might have been someone else's that he pointed out to me. I had never seen this one. I really like it. So thanks, Kevin. And you should check him out. He's got an Instagram account called Kevin Taylor Comics. And I just recently found out he also has a YouTube account called the same thing, Kevin Taylor Comics. And he's posting some really interesting comics because he has a specific goal in mind for his collection. There's a specific number of comics he's looking for. And they're all comics that have won awards, like the Eisner Award or Best This or Best That. And so all the comics he's posting, he also talks about what kind of award it won. And I find that really interesting because there's probably some really good stories in there that I haven't heard about, but I'll hear about from him. So check out his YouTube and IG. Next one I'm going to show you is another train cover. It's Mr. District Attorney, number 15. This is a beautiful comic. And thank you, Night Tiger Comics. Mike Smith pointed this one out to me. He sent me an eBay link for it. I'm going to drop a picture in here so you can see what it looked like before I purchased it. Because what happened was the spine over here was rolled a little bit. This looks really great right now, but it didn't look as great on the listing, and it was really inexpensive. I got it for a great price. I love the cover. The colors are great. The reds, the yellows, the greens, they all pop. The girl, the damsel in distress with the red dress, and the two escaped prisoners with the classic black and white stripes on it. This is 52 pages. There's a lot in here, a lot to read. So I just wanted to thank Mike for pointing that out for me. And while I was purchasing it from this eBay seller, I always like to look and see if the eBay seller has other things I'm looking for. So maybe I could combine it and save on shipping. And sure enough, he did have one other comic at a good price that I was looking for, which is this one, Sarge Steele from Charlton Comics, Sarge Steele number 4. Sarge Steele ran for 8 issues. This is issue number 4. And then after issue 8, the title changed to Secret Agent. So there were 2 more issues, issues 9 and 10. It was called Secret Agent. And I think that as this progressed, as it got up to the higher numbers, it said Sarge Steele, and then below here it said like Special Agent or Secret Agent. And then they changed the title to Secret Agent for the last 2 issues. And then that was it for his own title. And then he appeared in Judo Master from issues 91 through 98. This is a Dick Giordano cover, and it's great with the female over here with the leopard. This same picture is used in the first page. It's a splash page, but throughout the rest of the comic, instead of drawing the leopard with the spots and everything, it's like a black puma. It's just solid black. Must have been easier to do that, but it's a fantastic cover. And an interesting thing about like the Sarge Steele, a lot of the titles of the stories are like file number, whatever. This says file number 104. And most of the issues are titled like that, file number something or other. And they're fun to read, great Silver Age, ridiculous stuff. The next stack I'm going to show you is a stack of Charlton comics. I didn't get these on eBay, but there is a online seller called New Cadia Comics. And if you don't know about them, you should check them out because they have every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they have a 50% off sale. It's a certain genre or a certain publisher or a certain character, like maybe it would be 50% off all Superman titles or 50% off all female heroes. This particular sale that I got was 50% off Charlton. I love my Charlton. And so you just go in there and you search up the genre, whatever's on sale, and you look at the comic books, and it's got prices for the different grades of the issues that are available. And the sale is for comics that have been there for a while. So the color of the price changes if it's been there a while. If it's new, it's black, and that's not included in the sale. But anyone that has a green price is included in the sale. So I got all these for 50% off. I think the most expensive I paid for one was $5. Everything else wound up being like $2 or $3. And so I got this great issue of Strange Suspense Stories. That's a beautiful cover. And you can kind of see the girl kind of disappearing over here. And the scientist with the different chemicals that he had mixed. I was able to get one more issue of Fighting Five for my run. I'm trying to get the whole storyline of Fighting Five. I have most of them. I think one of them is pretty expensive now because maybe it's like the first appearance of Peacemaker or something like that. I always have trying to collect some comics, and all of a sudden one of them gets hot and it becomes cost ineffective to get it. But I got this nice issue of Fighting Five. And then the rest of them are from the Charlton horror suspense titles from like the late 60s and early 70s. And I would say, without a doubt, the pre-code horror are the best comics that you could find in that genre. But they're scarce and they're expensive. And so while I do like to find those, to me, the next best thing is these Charlton comics from the late 60s and very early 70s. There's a lot of great art on it. There's 2 or 3 stories in there that are always very entertaining. And, you know, a lot of the covers are even done by, you know, great artists like Steve Ditko. So it's some pretty cool far out covers. And my favorite one is the Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves, particularly the earlier issues, because I think they started doing reprints later. And the covers, you can kind of see that, you know, the covers didn't have really good effort on it, but these earlier ones were really some beautiful covers on them and some interesting stories, right? Doesn't have the kind of gore of the pre-code horror, but nevertheless, there's some pretty good creepy stories in here. This is number 25. And I also picked up issue 32. Nice purple cover. I picked up issue 34. This is a nice haunted house that has like every kind of monster in there, a ghost, a werewolf, a vampire, a skeleton, etc. But that's a nice one. I had one more. I had to send it back. It had a piece of tape stuck on the cover they didn't mention. I got this low-grade issue of Ghost Manor, number 10. Got some writing up there in the G, and it's got a nice big crease across here. But tell me something. Have you ever seen a woman with a torso as long as that woman's torso? And it's not because I'm tilting the comic. Look at that. That is a long torso, I think. Long neck. She's a very long woman. And an issue of Ghostly Haunts, number 26. Yeah, so these were all, had been there for a while. They're low grade, you know, 3.0, 2.5, something like that. But they're complete, and the prices were right, and I was glad to add those to my PC. One more, I got an issue of Midnight Tales, number 11. This is Professor Coffin, and Wayne Howard did this cover. Here's his signature right here. And he did most of the Midnight Tales, if not all of them. I really like his art style because he doesn't mess around. He fills up the whole thing. You could always tell his art on these Charlton comics because there's no wasted space. There's no blank space. He creates a full scene on there. and with lots of people. He spent a lot of time drawing this cover. So there's Midnight Tales. Now, the next two comics I'm going to show you are from England. I watched this YouTube channel called The Comic Collector Geek, and he has a show that he does with Mark Oldroyd, who also has a YouTube channel. And they do this show where they put half of the show on one channel and half on the other. They pick some kind of topic they're going to talk about, or favorite comics or favorite artists. And so Mark showed a series of comics called London Horror Comic. And so here is issue number 9, which I picked up. It's made to look like an old comic that's been, creased, but this is brand new. And the character is this chain-smoking detective named Jane Silver, and she does kind of like supernatural detecting. And so Mark showed this on his channel, some of the other issues, and said there was a website where you could get them. So I searched it up, and they shipped to the US, and it wasn't that expensive with the shipping. I think it turned out to be like $12 to be shipped for the comic and shipping. So I grabbed this issue. I read it. It's great. It's very thick. It's 52 pages. There's no ads. It's all color, 2 stories, and a really great character and interesting kind of supernatural stuff going on in there. And then I also got the variant cover for the same issue. This is issue number 9, and I thought that was just gorgeous. So I grabbed that one. So this is issue 9. I didn't grab all of them. I wanted to just try it and see, give it a shot. There's not extra shipping. It's £9, I think, per comic, and that includes the shipping. So it didn't work for me to buy more and save on shipping, because that's it. That's the way it is. But check that out. London, you could find it on London Horror Comics website, londonhorrorcomic.com. So that was very good. I recommend that. Another cool comic I got is this one. This is from the Virginia Comic Con, and this is a Dan Parent variant of Chilling Adventures in Sorcery #1. I think it was a one-shot, and Virginia Comic Con exclusive variant. I found out about this on Instagram. I went over and I ordered one. They had 3 different versions. They had this one, and then they had the Virgin variant. I'm not a big fan of the Virgin variants. I actually like it with the masthead on it, so you know what comic it is. And then they also had this in black and white. So this is the one I ordered. It's an homage cover to Chamber of Chills 19, I believe. I'm going to drop it in here. If I'm wrong, I'll put the correct issue number. But super stoked to have this one. I ordered it a while ago, and then they just sent it out. I got it last week. I went back, I ordered it. I went back to get another one. They were sold out. They had 250 copies of each one. That's it. So I thought that was pretty cool with Betty. And then this next one I found out about from another YouTube channel. And you should check this channel out. It's Scott Harris King, and his YouTube channel is called The Classic Comic Collector. And this guy is very passionate about comics, and particularly romance comics and Archie comics. And he's really knowledgeable about it. So I think he's got a great channel. He's always showing off some great comics, and he's not in it for the speculation. He's in it because he loves comics. He loves reading comics, and he loves sharing his knowledge about comics. And he knows a lot, and he's very well spoken. And so one of the comics he showed was this one, which is a Romantic Secrets by Charlton. And it's such a beautiful cover. And basically everything that he said, I kind of agreed with. So this is going to sound like what he said. One, he said that this comic would be so much better if Charlton didn't put this prize balloon here. I agree. That thing kind of distracts from the picture, but it's a great picture. Winter, Christmas, man carrying the woman up the stairs, the old car in the background. And what he said, and I'll drop in a picture of it here, was he said that this is a Vince Coletta cover, and it's an homage cover to a Matt Baker art on Romantic Marriages 24. So on that other issue, it's a man carrying a woman up the stairs like this, but this is a much better composition because it fills up, the whole front of the comic book. You're going to see when I drop the other one in that they're a lot smaller on the stairs. And so he liked this one better. I do too. And this is a really great romance cover from Charlton. The other thing is he's making his own comics, and I purchased a couple of them from him. He's doing this thing called Crime Busters. And so this is an indie comic you can get on his website. And this is Chuck Chandler, and this is Trixie Trouble. And they're like youth detectives, to me, kind of like the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew. And the premise here is that this guy was a character in boy comics in the Golden Age. And after it was a Charles Biro, I'm not sure how to say it. I say Charles Biro creation. And he ran through boy comics, and then it ended. And so this picks up where that left off. And so inside in the bottom, like this says issue 1, but inside the bottom, it's like legacy issue 121, I think. It's a certain number. And then this is the character who's in the public domain. So he's just, continuing the stories. And this is a character that he has created so that there would be like a pair of them, bouncing ideas off of each other. And they have different kind of personalities. Reminds me kind of like Moonlighting. What was that with Demi Moore and Bruce Willis back in the day? So anyway, they're these kind of like Hardy Boys mysteries. There's these creepy things and they're trying to figure it out. And he says there's always a natural explanation. And, she kind of maybe believes in the, maybe like X-Files with Scully and Mulder. And they're great. And the back covers, he's got something on the back cover. This is the character he's fighting in this issue. These are some of the other sidekicks that are in the story. And he's working on issue 4. So far, issue 1, 2, and 3 are out, and that's issue 1. Here's issue number 2. And what's pretty cool about this is, in addition to having these youth detective stories with Chuck Chandler and Trixie Trouble, he throws in other characters who are in the public domain. So like Blackstone the Magician is mentioned in this one. There's the back cover. And then here's issue 3. Look at that great cover. And in issue 3, there's Granny Gumshoe from National Comics. There's John Force, Magic Agent, and there's Star Flag, Undercover Girl. They're in here too. And so it's really cool how he's intertwining all these characters together. He says there's going to be other characters added from the public domain. And the last page or two, he just talks about some history of the comics and, the characters and things like that. And throughout the comic book, while you're reading the story, there's historical facts and information from the time period. And, these kids, they reference it and things like that. Really cool. You should, so check out his YouTube channel, The Classic Comic Collector. And then you can also search up, his website. You can still buy these, and he's working on issue 4. Very fun comics. The next 2 comics I got off of eBay. This one is a train cover comic that Night Tiger pointed out to me. So I went over and searched it up, and it was such a good deal, I couldn't pass it up. And I am really excited to have this one in my train cover collection because it's a logging train, and I don't have any like that. it's so cool to have a different type of train represented, and the logging train is one that was and is still used. So I was able to get this one, and I searched up from the same seller to see what else he had, and I was really excited when I saw that he had one of the True Vision copies that I still needed. So this is Adventures into the Unknown number 53, and this is, you could tell from the black border and also up here in the title, that this is a True Vision. This is like a simulated 3D. And the whole book is black borders instead of white borders. And every panel kind of has like a faded out background. And then the characters in the foreground are in bright colors popping. And part of the foreground art always sticks out the edge of the panel to give it a simulated 3D effect. I'm trying to get all of these. I only need one more issue of Adventures into Unknown, and I'll have all of the Adventures into Unknown True Visions, which I'm really psyched about because they're the best ones. I was also able to bid on this one. This is a low-grade copy. The cover's detached, and it's got a chip out here and some other issues. But I think I got this for like $23, and this is issue number 52. And I really don't care that it's that's got those defects. It's complete, and I just really want to read these stories and appreciate the art that's inside. And I left this one out because I did want to show you like these splash pages, how cool they actually are. So it's hard to do because of the detached cover, but that's the first story, Monster in the Fog, and they are just so cool. I'm glad I found out about these comics, these old Golden Age comics, that I wasn't aware of this True Vision until I bought one particular issue. What is it? The Year of the Bat. So cool. And let's see, there's one or two more. Let's see. One more. Okay, Till Death Do Us Part. These are so cool. Till Death Do Us Part. That is just terrific art. Harry Lazarus. And it's just so cool, the style that they did this in. There's not a whole lot. If you're interested in hunting these down, I think there's 18. Okay, last book to show you is I think it's a pre-code horror. This is Mysteries number 5 from January 1954. Superior Comics. This is the Canadian comic publisher that reprinted stories. So this reprints these 4 stories here. I think the title is just called Mysteries, but there's a lot going on here. It says Uncanny Mysteries, Weird and Strange. It's a 10-cent comic, and I just love that cover with those skeletons, the skeleton jazz band in the back, the skeleton waiter. Very cool. And the stories inside are pretty good too. There's some reprints from some other pre-code horror things. So I'm happy to have that one. Another low-grade comic. It's got some problems with the spine over here, but presents very well and it's complete, and I get to enjoy it. So I'm really happy to have this cool comic in my collection. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed another episode of Black Box Silver and Bronze comic book hauls, and I'm happy to share it with you. And please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.